Have you ever wondered what Chemical X is really made of? Can you really make superpowered children in a lab? And how do the Powerpuff Girls do literally anything without friggin' fingers? We'll be exploring those questions and more. So with that said, let's investigate some crimes against science. Hey everyone, welcome to another installment of Science Crimes, where I like to spank your inner child with science. I'm Sevda, my friends call me Sevi, and today we're going to talk about the Powerpuff Girls. Why do we always say we're gonna talk about? I'm the only one in this room talking. None of y'all motherfuckers are helping with this. Okay, let's get started. So in case you've forgotten about the Powerpuff Girls, or perhaps have been in cryosleep for the past couple of decades, the Powerpuff Girls is a show about 3 super-powered 5-year-olds who fight crime. They have super strength, speed, flight, laser eyes, ice breath, the works. They were created in a lab by a scientist called Professor Utonium, who wears a perpetual lab coat. So after he creates these girls using sugar, spice, and everything nice, he raises them and he is sort of a father figure to them. Lucky little shits. I want me a science daddy. So anyway, I made the fatal mistake of clicking on a Powerpuff Girls related short. And what I saw in that short made my brain short circuit. So today I'm going to start with the science crime that started it all, the carbon-eating nanobots. Let's go. So imagine you're a little girl playing in the rain and suddenly you're stripped completely naked, just standing there out in the open, buck naked, wondering how your clothes just suddenly melted away. Well, that's what happens in this particular episode of Epstein Fantasy, a Powerpuff Girls, Nano of the North. In this episode, a tiny villain named Nanobot controls microscopic robots that can disassemble matter at the molecular level. They come through the rain, and there's a line in the show explaining that these bots are stealing carbon from everything they touch, which causes clothes, buildings, and even parts of the city to disintegrate.
If my calculations are correct, millions of nanobots are raining down on Townsville. It's just possible that these nanobots are stealing carbon from everything in the city, which would explain why buildings are collapsing.
No, that makes no sense. You're a fucking scientist.
We failed, Professor, and our clothes melted.
So they're said to eat clothing because, I kid you not, they want to collect the carbon. You know what else is made out of carbon? Carbon-based life forms, like people. If nanobots were actually programmed to eat carbon, they wouldn't politely nibble on denim jeans and polyester sweaters. They would go after your skin, organs, and blood. Basically, all of you. Proteins are long chains of carbon-based amino acids. Your muscles, collagen, hair, nails, and even the enzymes that digest your food are mostly carbon frameworks with hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and sulfur attached. If they're actually stealing elemental carbon, they'd have to break stable covalent bonds all over the place. That means instant catastrophic structural collapse of anything organic or polymeric, not just clothes. Carbon provides the structural backbone of proteins, DNA, fats, sugars, etc. They would be destroying the molecular framework of all those things and leaving a collapsing pile of inorganic remnants and gases. If the bots were that indiscriminate, they'd strip people down to atoms. If those robots really wanted to steal carbon, they'd eat their fucking skin off. You see, I'm the type of person who finds it difficult to enjoy media sometimes because my logical side just doesn't like to turn off and allow me to enjoy life. I'll just be watching something and my brain will start complaining. No, that's not right. That's not scientifically possible. That's not science. I can't help it. It's like a curse. In retrospect, I don't think the words cartoon striptease is the phrase I should be applying to children. Moving right along. The birth of the Powerpuff Girls, or as I like to call it, the Big Bang of bullshit.
Sugar, spice, and everything nice. These were the ingredients chosen to create the perfect little girl.
It gives you a churro. That's not a child.
I hope it goes without saying that you can't build life out of pastry ingredients.
Real living organisms need cells, which are complex units made of DNA, RNA, proteins, lipids, blah, 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 arranged in a way that allows them to metabolize, reproduce, and evolve. Without nucleic acids, DNA, or RNA, there's no blueprint to tell matter what to become. The molecules will just stand around like interns with no manager. Let's actually try to make some superpowered children. Okay, maybe superpowered is actually asking for a little bit too much. Let's make some children. That sounded weirder coming out than when I put it in the script. No, actually, let's not jump the gun here. Let's see if we can make something akin to Chemical X. Maybe we could talk about making the children later. I mean, buy a girl a drink first, at least. Let's go into mad scientist mode. I should go get a lab coat. All right, you see this? This is my lab coat from back when I used to do little kids' birthday parties and teach science to the little chillins. Anyway, where was I? All right, mad scientist mode. Mwahaha. Or something, I don't know, whatever. Let's see if we can make an actual Chemical X. As we know, the girls have super strength. So what can we put in that Chemical X to give the effect of super strength? We can go with a few options here. Anabolic steroids. It increases protein synthesis, but it's not anywhere near like punching through a mountain level of strength. What about myostatin inhibitors? A myostatin inhibitor is something that suppresses the protein that limits muscle growth.
Have you seen a cow with a myostatin deficiency? So yeah, let's go with myostatin inhibitors.
The girls would look a little bit strange, but that's what we're dealing with. Super healing. I think maybe tardigrade protein. DSUP. The tardigrade protein DSUP protects DNA from radiation damage. DSUP stands for damage suppressor. It's a unique protein that is found in tardigrades, as I guess that should be pretty much obvious. Y'all know tardigrades, those microscopic 8-legged water bears famous for surviving nearly everything: freezing, boiling, surviving in a vacuum, radiation, and even outer space. Tardigrades are amazing. Tardigrade DNA, like ours, is vulnerable to damage from ionizing radiation and reactive oxygen species, which are molecules that can break or mutate genetic material. But DSUP acts like a molecular bodyguard for DNA. It binds directly to the DNA's chromatin and forms a protective cloud around it. This shield absorbs or deflects incoming reactive molecules, reducing DNA breaks by roughly 40 to 50% in experiments. So in 2016, scientists from the University of Tokyo and Keio University isolated the DSUP gene from tardigrades and inserted it into human kidney cells. The modified cells showed 40% less DNA damage when blasted with X-rays compared to unmodified cells. The cells didn't gain immortality or superpowers or anything like that, but they did become significantly more resilient. Which is to say, it doesn't exactly prevent aging or disease or make an organism immune to radiation, but it is the closest thing we've got to a biological force field, essentially. Super speed! I don't fucking know, caffeine. All right, let's see what we can do for flight. How about electromagnetic propulsion? Maybe gas-filled biological buoyancy. What can we put in Chemical X to make you flight? I can English. I don't think we can really do anything to make flight happen, but maybe we can do something to make the illusion of flight possible. Let's go with that. If we put something in Chemical X that could generate a personal magnetic field interacting with Earth's magnetosphere, then maybe we could get away with turning the girls into like a hovering particle accelerator. What? The magnetosphere is a region of space around a celestial body where its magnetic field dominates, acting as a protective shield against solar wind and cosmic radiation. It is created by the interaction of a planet's internal magnetic field with the outward pressure of the solar wind. I'm not even gonna get into like the laser eyes and shit. No. Let's get a little deeper into mad scientist mode. Maybe Chemical X was actually the conductive bridge that fused the professor's computer-based artificial consciousness experiments into organic form. thus downloading fragments of his own personality data into each girl. So each girl is supposed to represent 3 cloned fragments of a superego, each expressed through a different emotional archetype. We've got Blossom, who represents logic and order, aka his inner perfectionist, Bubbles, who represents compassion and curiosity, aka his idealized innocence, and Buttercup, representing rage and rebellion, his repressed frustration with academia. Did you know that the original pilot version of the Powerpuff Girls were called the Whoop-Ass Girls?
Sugar, spice, and everything nice. These were the ingredients chosen to create the perfect little girl. But Professor Utonium...
Looks like Dexter gave up on life, his hope for humanity, like many intellectuals eventually do.
accidentally added a can of whoop-ass to the concoction.
Dude, that does not look like an accident. That looks very deliberate.
Thus, the whoop-ass girls were born. Using their ultra superpowers, Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup have dedicated their lives to fighting crime and the forces of evil.
You know, I was actually gonna see if I can get certain ingredients and make a chemical X of my own, but I was like, you know what? I don't want to die. That will stay in my mind for now. Let's move on.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Scissors beats paper. Ha ha, you lose, Bubbles.
So as we all know, the Powerpuff Girls don't have fingers. And yet, we see them doing things like coloring, using chopsticks, playing rock, paper, scissors, and more. But without fingers, these things should be impossible. Or is it? Let's not be so quick to write it off as a biomechanical impossibility. Let's borrow some inspiration from the real world and look at animals that can grab things without fingers. And let's see if we can crack the case as to why the Powerpuff Girls have fine motor skills with what are essentially autonomous breadsticks. Let's look at our contestants. The octopus. They have no fingers. They use hundreds of suction cups. Each arm has independent neural control. And the suckers create vacuum pressure and chemical adhesion. Starfish. Starfish have hundreds of tube feet that function using hydraulic pressure and suction, which lets them move and manipulate things very slowly and with low force. Similarly, tree frogs also have tube feet that function using hydraulic pressure and suction, and also lets them move and manipulate things very slowly and with low force. Boy, that was redundant. In any case, we fingered beings have fingerprint ridges, sweat pores, microscale skin textures at a scale not visible to the naked eye without magnification, and yet they dramatically affect grip, friction, and sensation. So what's to say that they don't either? So maybe the Powerpuff Girls have sticky nubs like tree frogs, thousands of microscopic tube feet similar to starfish, or maybe they just have some gross-ass tentacle hands.
1, 2, 3.
No amount of science can explain this one.
Another science crime would be the amoeba boys. Amoeba are prokaryotes, which are basically microscopic blobs with no nucleus, no brain, no heart, no lungs, no personality. At least not in a biological sense. And their entire existence is eat food, wiggle, split in half, repeat. That's a pretty boss-ass life, I'm not gonna lie. But somehow in the Powerpuff Girls, these amoebas have entire organ systems and are capable of speech. I wish I could just eat food and wiggle. Actually, I kind of do. So amoeba, they do not have bones, blood, or body plans. They're just a bag of cytoplasm held together by sheer willpower and surface tension. So let me tell you something. This is where all of this started. This is the reason science crimes exist. Some time ago, I don't know what was going on that week, but it seems like the whole week Powerpuff Girls related videos were being constantly recommended to me on YouTube. And it's not because I went searching for anything Powerpuff Girls related. I don't know if I just accidentally clicked on something and then the algorithm just wanted to just continuously shove it down my throat. It just kept popping up everywhere, as if the algorithm was running some sort of targeted harassment campaign against me.
Just happened to click on this Powerpuff Girls short talking about Nano of the North and the carbon nanobots, and I thought, well, this is shitty science. Someone should comment on it. And one thought led to another, and here we are.
It was not only that either. That same week, some guy who was trying to flirt with me was doing a Mojo Jojo impression. One of my favorite YouTubers dropped a video wearing a Powerpuff Girls hoodie. So yeah, it was as if the universe was trying to talk to me, much in the same way a meat tenderizer talks to a steak. Let me know if there's a series that you'd like me to do a video on next. And of course, don't forget to like, subscribe, do the stuff that people tell you to do all the time in these YouTube videos. Until next time. They're just a bag of cytoplasm held together by sheer willpower and surface. Did I say surface? Haha. Okay. Surface tension. Why do I keep saying surface? A self-replicating. Damn. A self-replicating. A self-replicating. A self-replicating. God damn it. A self-replicating nanobot wouldn't politely nibble on denim. Why do I keep saying denim? Denim. God denim. They wouldn't politely nibble on denim. Why? Why can't I say this simple word? God damn it.